What's up, guys? Ben here, bringing you another video today. It is time. It is Monday. It is here. Tier list. We do it every week after the weekend of matches. We got one more online weekend coming up. We still got winners and losers bracket to sort out before the Madrid major. Let's take a look at who's rising in the tier list, who's falling in the tier list. There's some changes this week, so let's dive in. All right, so if you are new here, here's the deal. I don't do the letter thing. I kind of do it this way. We do categories. The way I have it right now, we have 4. So event winners are your top 4. Top 3 teams. Right now it's 5, but spoilers, I'm moving the team down. Fighting for Sundays is the rest of like the top 6, top 8 teams. It's kind of depend on the season. Spoilers, I'm moving a team down out of this category. D9, I don't know. I mean, that one's pretty self-explanatory. I think I'm actually changing this to the I don't know tier because I am moving a team down there. And the missing pieces are teams that I think are due for a roster change. All right, let's start with the Vegas Legion. They lost to Optic in Vancouver, but both in 3-1 fashion. To whom and Wixel played okay, but this team still has the same problem. They can steal a control, they can steal a search, but their hard point is nowhere close to beating any of these top teams. They have LAG coming up this weekend, and I guess that's a winnable match. I don't know, but this Vegas team looks destined to honestly get like maybe 10 points this entire split, and we'll see when Kicks is coming back to try and get the best version of this team. Speaking of LAG, we're going to talk about them next. I think they finally got a solid a great weekend from Priesta, and it resulted in them beating Cloud9 in a hot 3-0 fashion. But then they end up losing 3-1 to Toronto Ultra. So I still think this LAG team, something's kind of rotten. They're just not really good at anything other than control, in which they are 5-2 combined. I'm doing the math right now. 7-16 in hardpoint and search. So that's not good. We still have not gotten a pop-off series from Caesar Skies. He's been pretty underwhelming and one of the slowest players in the league so far. These guys are 1-5 right now, and they have Vegas Falcons coming up. So a chance to get to 2-5, but they're going to be in losers bracket for Madrid, and it's going to depend on the draw, whether or not they have a chance to win 1, 2, or 0 match. Miami Heretics, 3-2 victory over Cloud9 this weekend, and they won 2 S&Ds. So, you know, we've been S&D haters on these guys, and rightfully so. They look terrible in the game mode, but they're now 3-7 after being 1-7. We got to give them some respect there. Do I think they're going to keep this up? Probably not. They have LA, Thieves, and Carolina coming up. So they still at 2-3 have a chance to make winners bracket, but I just don't know how they're going to beat both teams, especially after a bad weekend for Carolina. Thieves, the same thing. I think they're just going to get beat up on this weekend. I still think they're in roster change category because Super's coming in here at some point. Vancouver Surge, I mean, they got the free weekend. They played Vegas. They played I against Vegas. This Vancouver team they're just No one slays well. They're not good at any particular game mode. They're just the problem is that could be good enough for them to go to an event, get hot, and get like top 6 because they win 2 losers bracket matches. It could also mean they go to Madrid and lose 3 straight maps on Friday and they're out of here. I don't know how to read this team. I don't think they're good enough where I think like that can move them up a tier. I still think this is a roster move situation because of the lack of slaying on the squad. They are just like Miami, also 2-3, but they have Carolina and Minnesota coming up, and I just don't. Maybe Minnesota's kind of winnable, but I just don't know how this team is going to find a way to win. Maybe they do, and I get surprised. But right now, I got them in the missing pieces category because I think they need to make a roster change and get more slaying. All right, I am moving Minnesota down to the I don't know tier, and let's start with Cloud9, who really disappointed me this weekend, losing to LAG and Miami. I want to move them down to missing pieces, but I think I need to see another bad weekend from them to really do that. They need to continue getting decent series from Sib. He was solid this weekend, but this team is still like not that good at S&D. The respawn game modes, hardpoint, they're okay. Their control is awful. So I don't know. This is another situation where this team is just supremely disappointing me so many different ways. Their sub duo has been the only bright spot on the team. But to describe their S&D coach John used a word that I will not repeat on stream, but I think it kind of says the point of his thoughts on where they are at. And their only upcoming match this weekend, because they are basically locked in losers bracket at 1-5 right now, is Atlanta FaZe, and I think that's an L. So they are probably going to be 1-6, and they're going to need to really regain the fight in Madrid. I have a feeling I'm moving these guys down a tier after next weekend. Let's talk Minnesota Rocker. A real bad weekend for Paul X. Like, he was just not there in any map at all this entire weekend. And they played a tough series of opponents, Toronto and FaZe, 2 teams that like are playing very good right now. They went to game 5 with Toronto. And they lost to FaZe. I think I have to move them in the I don't know tier right now until I see Paul playing better. I want to keep them in fighting for Sundays. His team's got grit. You've got passion. They battle in series. But the hardpoint map pool is still a problem. 6-12 in the game mode. No wins yet on Red Card or Skyline. They're good at the other game modes, but I don't know, man. It's starting to maybe be like some teams have caught up to them. Vancouver come up this weekend. Have to win to have a chance to make winners bracket. They're currently 2-4. They would maybe need help at 3 and 4. It's going to depend on tiebreakers. I don't know. Maybe a disappointing split for Minnesota when it looks so good. At this point, they are slipping. I am moving Carolina down to fighting for Sundays. I know you think I'm probably crazy, but this team right now cannot win respawns. As good as their search is, they have now in 3 like back-to-back series looked a little bit iffy on that front. And Boston kind of exposed them, and they let Purge go Hamboni in a Vol hardpoint that they got Kentucky slammed on. Unless Carolina can clean up their respawns, they're just going to be a search squad. Maybe they can fight the 5, but as map pools and other things are getting sorted out, they are getting a little bit exposed right now. They need to play better. They got Vancouver and Miami coming up. They are locked in winners bracket. If Carolina splits this weekend, we're going to have a very difficult conversation that with the right draw, this Carolina team can pull a New York Subliners to get that last imagery. I'm not there yet, but with the way the respawn is right now, it's not out. The way the respawn is right now, it's not out of the realm of possibility on that front. All right, Boston Breach. I kind of want to, after maybe next weekend, they play FaZe in Toronto coming up here, move them up a tier. They had a good showing this weekend, beating Carolina. There's a lot to like about this team. There's a lot to like about the way they're playing in all game modes. S&D is maybe their weakest game mode. So we're going to see with Thieves and FaZe how they kind of factor in there. They have a very good hardpoint map pool. They're good at control. Respawn, they look solid right now. Everybody's performing well. We'll just see how they square up against FaZe and Thieves this weekend, if they're kind of stuck in this top 6 tier, or if they get a couple of upsets here or one, and we think about moving them up going into Madrid. But they're going to be a top seed in winners bracket going into, well, probably a top seed in winners bracket going into the event in weekends. I don't know how to order these next 4 teams. I did shuffle this a little bit, so we'll just kind of talk about it in the way that I have it ordered. And I want to start with Thieves, who massively disappointed again. They disappointed the weekend prior by losing to FaZe, and disappointed this weekend in being 1 round away in a Game 5 S&D, up 5-1 and then blowing 5 straight. And this kind of gets to the point I've been saying all offseason about Thieves. I'm a little bit worried about the S&D, and well, so far that has been proven true. These stats are crazy. They have the 2nd lowest first blood win percentage in the entire league. They're winning 73%, which is not too bad, but like, it's surprising to a team with the talent that they have that they are only winning first blood in 44% of the rounds. And you can see that on defense, they are pretty good at getting bloods, but it's the offense. When you have to push the issue on these maps, this is where they are currently struggling pretty hard on. Their plant win percentage is also a little bit below average on that front as well. So for Thieves, you go into this weekend where you have a good seed, you qualify for winners bracket, you have Miami and Boston. Need to play better in search this weekend, or we're going to have a conversation in the next tier list video that this LA Thieves team is going to lose Madrid because they cannot win searches against good teams. So big weekend on that front. Aussie looked a little bit better, but the S&D, a lot of questions. We had them on the flank, and I have them again here about what they're doing in this game mode and the roles. Let's talk Atlanta FaZe. I mean, they are now have won 5 straight matches, 6 straight matches, I think, in the CDL. They won 1 before the break against Vegas. They won 4, obviously, the minor tournament. They won again this weekend. A comfortable 3-1 against Minnesota. They kind of trolled map 1. The other 3 maps were clean. Their control and protocol looked great. So if you're a little concerned about them on the game mode, looks like some improvements. They're just in flow right now. All 4 players contributing and playing well. They still need to kind of clean up this weekend against Boston and Cloud9 to make winners bracket because of their slow start. But if they split, I think they should be enough. If they win 2, they're obviously in because they'll have 4 wins out of 7 in the online qualifiers. So let's see how they do, but they're definitely in the mix to win the major upcoming here weekends. Toronto Ultra, the second to last team we will talk about here. They had 2 matches this weekend. Game 5 against Minnesota win that they went up 2-0 and kind of tossed. It's been a little bit of a Toronto MO, a la Thieves from last year when Joe was on that team. They go up 2-0 in the series, and then they kind of lose the control and they let a team back in. You're going to get punished eventually, for letting the reverse sweep happen. AK, which exactly happened to them and why they got out and crashed out of the minor tournament a weekend or so ago. And that one, funny enough, was against Minnesota. So it's really funny it almost happened twice to them against the same team. And they had a pretty comfortable one against LAG, just lost the hostage control. But I'll give teams a pass for losing their first couple of hostage controls just kind of playing it for real in a match for the first couple times. I don't know. If you're a Toronto fan, I think you got to like about where you're at. You're going to be playing Optic Texas for #1 seed in the major tournament coming up here this weekend. And I think Optic's probably favored in that match, but Toronto's got a real chance to win that. So, I mean, 7-0 in the qualifiers would be a tremendous start for this. And finally, we got Optic Texas and a weird weekend. 3-1 against Vegas. It's kind of a weird series. Like, Vegas took the vault S&D. The hard points weren't close. Optic kind of slammed them there, but that control got a little dicey. Like, there was a world just went to a Skyline search, and then who knows what happened on that match. So that wasn't a great series at Optic. And then the Thieves series was just kind of a real, just kind of classic banger between the two teams. And Optic had some gritty ice in the game 5. So there's some obvious things I think Optic needs to work on. Namely, I think just like with Thieves, this S&D first blood thing's a little bit of an issue, especially on offense. 37.88 there. You see overall right now they're at 45. So like below average on the first blood win percentage front, which the talent they have should be a little bit better. But they're 11-5 in hard point, 6-3 in control. Like, can't really complain. They've been really doing a good job of expanding and playing all the maps. I sort of like the variety of what Optic's going on here. They're on a great path. Just need to close up and clutch up against Toronto this weekend in order to lock in #1 seed. And yeah, they're a real factor going into this first event. So that's the tier list. I feel pretty confident about the top 4. Not sure the order yet, but that is a squad for sure. Boston and Carolina definitely in the next tier. I feel like Minnesota should be above, but with Pollock's the way he's playing right now, not so sure. Them and Cloud9 kind of in a weird spot. And then the bottom 4 teams I think are 100% going to be making moves and shuffles after this week. So let me know what you guys think of the video. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more. And as always, guys, we'll see you on the next one.